So in today's video, we have to weigh the Cornish Cross and the American Bresse chickens. For those of you who haven't seen that, we're comparing the Cornish Cross against the American Bresse to see what the differences are in growth rate, feed conversion, looks, all those good things. But right now, we have to milk the cows. And while we're milking cows, we are going to work on our tractor. So I made a video a few weeks back talking about how I would really like to get a sickle bar mower or something to clip the pastures to help with pasture health and ultimately the health of our dairy cows. And I have a sickle bar mower that belonged to Liddy's grandpa that he gave me, and I have a John Deere B that it would fit on, but the John Deere B, the motor is seized on. Well, so many of you reached out to me and wanted to help. It was just amazing to see how many of you care and would love to help out. So that was super cool. So I took the advice from a couple of you. And this John Deere B of mine, my dad, because once the motor was stuck, I had one guy look at it who knows what he's doing. He tried to get it unstuck, couldn't. And with these old John Deeres, it's not really like you just take another motor and throw it in there. So I'm like, whatever, I'll just scrap it. It's not really sentimental to me. I bought it when I was 14, but whatever. Well, my dad's like, I'll stick it in my pole barn, and if you ever want it or have time or the money to work on it, then it's here. So I went over there a couple days after work and poured some Marvel Mystery Oil in it. Tried to break it free, couldn't. So then I made a special bracket, milled that out at work, and gave it a good jolt, and it broke free.
Look, back up. Look, watch. Ooh!
So now, me and my dad finally dug it out of the pole barn and hauled it home.
Yeah! Yeah!
And these kids could not be more excited about it.
Yeah, it's really big and I love it.
Really big. I mean, they think it's huge. Granted, this is what we normally have. The old John Deere 318, so yeah, I guess it is big to them. So we're gonna do a few things. I mean, obviously it's not running yet, but it is completely free. I bought a new battery for it. I did plug that in and roll it over a few times. It rolls over good now. So I want to start by changing the oil in it. Oil filter. I just want to drain that oil out, start with fresh, see what we got, and we'll go from there. We're just going to do a few little things here and there, and hopefully get her up and running. I'm going to try. I have little to no experience with engines and doing engine work, but I'm going to try to do a lot of this. Just me and the boys here and there, see how far we can get. Probably gonna have to call in some expert help, but that's okay. So we're gonna start by getting this oil drained out. All my tools I have up at Liddy's brother's house to work on her car. Got a couple bad wheel bearings on that. But I don't know if it's because it's a Mercury, Mountaineer, or what it is, but I couldn't get any of those parts.
There's quite a few.
Usually those, they say, maybe there's no oil in it at all, I don't know. But usually the water will come out first, and usually if you get a couple threads out, the water will start coming out. So no water came out, so I guess that's a good thing. That is sludgy. So now that all the oil is out, which wasn't nearly enough, we can pull the oil filter, but of course this wrench ain't big enough for that.
down. Darn
I don't know if
tractor.
this will go big enough or not.
Me too.
This is one of Grandpa Hefner's old tools. I like it. It's adjustable.
Let's see, yeah, that should work. Maybe. Tight. Yeah, we might have to wait to get a regular good wrench. Oh,
Biscuit.
it's not what I wanted to do.
Um,
Nothing like using the wrong tools for the job. That's okay.
yeah, that's okay. If anyone has a tractor, make sure to not do this.
Yeah, this is, by all means isn't a instructional video.
Well, I
Because
guess
we don't really know what we're doing yet, do we?
No, we don't.
There. There she goes.
And please don't let your kids do it too.
Why not?
Because
You're gonna be 8 years old working on this tractor probably.
what? Hey!
Yeah, you'll get it all figured out.
Oh, I don't know. Dad, don't even think about it. 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 Don't even think about it.
More oil.
Oh my gosh! Your hands are full of oil. Dad? Your hands are full of oil!
There she comes.
It comes the whole thing. It smells kind of bad. Oh my
Filter.
lord! That's where all the oil comes from? I want to puke if I were you.
It's good that we're getting it out. What little is in there. There's probably a gallon. I think it takes 7 quarts. It's definitely way low.
But there's way
So we'll just
more.
let that drip all night and put new oil in it tomorrow. So I do really like how this ended up fitting in here. This will be a great project for this winter to get this going good. Still got a nice spot for the Bobcat and the lawnmower. I mean, this still gives me plenty of room here to work and get around this tractor and to have the kids help me. I'm working on organizing my workbench and some of the bigger tools up there, but that's all coming along. So I bought this tractor with my fair money when I was 14 years old. Spent $1,200 on it. It's a 1941 John Deere B. One of the first ones with electric start. So yeah, I mean, I wish I had like my grandpa's old John Deere B or something like that, but I don't. And to my kids, this will have sentimental value, I guess. So I'm excited to get it running and be able to clip my pastures with it whenever I need to do. Other than clipping my pastures with it, it's about useless. You can pull wagons and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, it's only got like 20 horsepower somewhere in there. Maybe it's 18, I don't remember, but it ain't much. So not a whole lot you can do with them, but I do like the tractor. And there's no 3-point hitch, which that is a big downfall. A lot of the newer stuff you buy today, you got a 3-point hitch. So you can do a back blade or a bale spear or something like that. But with the Bobcat, I really don't need anything like that. So once I get this thing running, get the sickle bar mower on the back, that'll be its job. And its only job is to have that sickle bar mower, keep the place looking nice, keeping the pastures fresh and weed free. And at some point, I think the newness of this will wear off and they'll stop fighting over it. It might be a little while though. So over here, once we get the new oil filter in,
Right here is where you add the oil. It's the breather. Ooh, there's a big old spider.
What? Where is it?
Right there. Dead.
No. Please, don't.
I see it?
No.
No.
Throw the paper.
I did. That filter actually looks good. Yeah, you just end up dumping the oil right down in there.
And
So leave
then
that like
you're
that for tomorrow.
ready to ride the spaceship.
Oh, we're gonna need a few more things than that, I'm sure, but then there's no dipstick down here. You just turn this, and if oil starts coming out, you have enough oil in it. So week 4, my Cornish crosses here are averaging 3 pounds 8 ounces, and my American Bresse are averaging 1 pound 4 ounces. Now, one thing to take note here now in week 4 that I'm really seeing is I can really tell the difference in my American Bresse on what ones are roosters and which ones are hens. And I got 2 roosters in there and 3 hens. And what I'm seeing as far as weight is their weights are really starting to separate. So the 2 roosters are 1 pound 8 ounces and 1 pound 11 ounces. Whereas the 3 pullets in there are 1 pound, 1 pound, and one of the pullets is all the way up to 1 pound 3 ounces. So with the American Bresse, you're really starting to see that separate. Whereas the Cornish Cross, you can tell there's 2 roosters in there and 3 hens also, but you really don't see the weight difference between them. They're kind of all the same. I mean, there is a difference, but it's very subtle. So a lot of you might see that as a negative, but to me as a breeder, you don't want your hens to grow as fast as your roosters. You don't want them to be as big as your roosters. Yes, you want them to be bigger, but just like we used to always say in the show pig industry, you want your females to look like females and your males to look like males. As soon as you muddy that water and you can't see the difference, you're in trouble. Because once your females start looking like males, they usually can't reproduce as good as they could before. So you gotta be very careful. Yes, you wanna pick your bigger pullets, you wanna pick your bigger hens, you wanna pick your wider hens, but you do not wanna get them to a point where they're just as big and growing just as fast as your roosters, because you're gonna get to the point where they're not laying eggs. There is definitely a correlation there, so we gotta be very careful with that. But I'm very happy with how these guys are turning out. They're looking pretty good. We do have one American Bresse pullet in there that doesn't have as dark a blue legs as I would like, but that's just something that still happens. We pride ourselves in breeding to the American Bresse standard, but sometimes you still get some that their legs don't darken up like you would like them. I like a nice, real dark blue leg, but you're not going to get that on every chick. For those of you who are looking to order chicks this winter, yes, we're going to have chicks all winter long. Right now our hens are molting, and so that lowers egg production a ton. So we don't have chicks on our website all the time, but whenever we do set more eggs, we will put chicks on our website. So there shouldn't be that big of a gap there. We might have a month here that we're not shipping out chicks due to egg production, but keep checking back. We will have chicks on that website and be shipping them all year long. We have a bunch of new pullets that'll start to lay this winter. We were able to save chicks a lot sooner than we did last year. So we're gonna have hens that are 6 months old by the end of December. And that means that they're gonna be laying good size eggs right away this spring. As soon as the weather turns, we'll be able to hit it hard. So we will have plenty of chicks in the spring, but if you're looking to get a jump start on it and get them this winter, please keep checking back. and we will be shipping all winter long. So.